So here's our first project. If I go to modeling, you will see that I have this arrangement of these flat cubes, you might say, right? So first thing you need to do is you need to get the files that I have for you. So the files that I have for you is a Blender file, and I have the file that has the code, the startup code. So when you open up the Blender file, it will have no code. So if I go to scripting, it'll have nothing in here. What you need to do is you need to say new and then paste this code into the Blender. So now when I run it, this code has some interesting little thing here. It deletes everything that you had before. So it's really cool. I don't have to go and try to delete stuff. It'll just do it automatically. So don't touch anything up here, right? This is where you're going to code. So you see if I run, and it deleted everything that was there before, which is great, very convenient, and it made a cube, right? So that's where we should be at this step. Okay, so let's start coding. I'm going to put the location last here, right? I'm just going to move that, and I'm going to keep. So I'll delete that, right? And I'm going to change the scale of the cube. So I'm going to say scale. And I'm going to make it bracket 1 comma 1 comma 0.2. Right, so I'm changing the scale. And that means I'm going to have to go over here and I must have to say scale equals scale. And now if I run it, I should get a nice, a little mistake. Let's see. It says comma. Is that a comma? I didn't put commas here, see? So it caught that. So 1 comma 1, 0.2. Let's give it another try, see? So that looks good, right? 0.2. Maybe I'll put 0.1, right? That's the Z scale, you see? So it flattens it out. So it flattens it out. So that's my first one, right? And if I go to Z here, you see, I'm looking at it from the top. So maybe that's the way it would be best to look at it. Okay, so I like to make some new ones. So I'm going to go and I'm going to, actually, I'm going to say this is, I'm going to put a comment here. I'm going to say this is the bottom, bottom row, okay? Uh, and I'm going to say for the bottom row, this is cube 1. See, so I'm doing the bottom row, and maybe I can put a couple asterisks, asterisks here, just to organize myself. So that's cube 1. Well, I'm going to make some more cubes, right? So I'm going to make some more cubes, and I'm going to keep the scale and the size the same, but I need to change the location. So let's say cube 2. So cube 2, let me just see, right? So I like to put it to the x-axis 1. If I go 1 and I save, and you see it's kind of too close, right? It's right on top of each other. So I'll say 1.1. So that means there is a gap between them, right? Okay, gap of zero point 0.1. Next thing, I'll make a third one, right? A third one, and it's another 1.1, so that's 2.2. 2.2 if I want the same gap. You see, there it is. 2.2, I'm going to make one more, so this is cube 3. Let's comment everything nicely, right? And I think three is enough. Yeah, 3 is enough. So the other thing that I want to do is I want to make a row above it, right? So this is bottom row, and I'm going to say top, excuse me, yeah, top row. So this will be the top row, right? So comment top row. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cube 1, right? And I need to change it so the y-axis is above that. So if I say 1 for that one, right, and I run it, and you see it's still too close, right? It's too close. It's above, but it's too close. So 1.1 is going to be great again, right? 1.1, see? And then I'm going to take this cube, right? And I'm going to again change this to 1.1 because I want it to be above. Oops. So 1.1, I put a comma here by mistake. It's 1.1. And you see, so what I'm doing is I'm keeping the x the same as the ones on the bottom, but I'm changing the y. So I'm going to do one more, right? So cube 2, I'll do cube 3. cube 3, and this will be 1.1. So 1 point again, comma, I gotta be careful. And then you see I have them nicely arranged. So this is what I want you to try now. I want you to make um, a third row. So maybe I should say I say row 2, right, instead of top row. And maybe I should say row 1, right, row 1. And now I'm going to do row 3, right? So row 3 will be on top, right? So you might have to do something like this. Row 3, and what we want is we want a row above this. So I'm going to give you time to try this. So I did my row 3. I'm hoping that you were able to figure this out. Am I okay? Yeah. Yeah, it looks okay. See? Nicely, if I go to Z, it's perfectly aligned, right? And there's my row 3. I just had to change this to 2.2 if you couldn't figure that out. 2.2 instead of 1.1. But there's one more thing. So this is my bottom, what I call bottom tier, right? So I could say this is my bottom tier. So I'm going to say comment at the top, say bottom tier. But I also want to make the ones above it. I want to make some above it. So I'm going to take this, right? I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go down to my bottom tier, or I should say top tier. So top tier. And I'm going to copy that code. Now, the only thing I need to change is the Z. So it has to be on the Z axis. So if you look, you see what I want to do is I want to move these up on the z-axis. So everything stays the same, except I'm going to change that to z. So I'm going to make it 0.3. So on this one, let's say z, change it to 0.3. 0.3, let's see. Yeah, that's not too bad. So this one's 0.3. I always like to put a 0 in front, right? 0.3. Okay, let's see if there's no mistake. And there it is. Look, it's above. You see, that row is above all the others. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is do the same thing for the other ones, right? Put them on top. So when you finish, we should have 2 rows of 9. That's your job.